Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
And Happy New Year to all of you. Let's not be more enthusiastic. That's probably a little too much.
Happy New Year.
Oh,
Happy New
thank
Year.
you. Yes. Let us be joyful, right? Let's wake every day with joy and enthusiasm. Okay, so it looks like first of the year we have Doug Watts will be our speaker. We're doing the service today. And Rebecca Hall on her beautiful silver flute. And we have Rick Malone, our house musician, as always. So if you'll please turn off your phones or put on silent during the service. That's just a reminder. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning to those that are on the internet. Welcome to 2023. We appreciate you being with us and sharing today with us. I'm going to start out, I have to start out this way. I heard about it. I didn't see it. It was this church down the road, Pam's church down the road. And the preacher, he'd been preaching, and he was walking down the street, and he saw a bunch of boys gathered around, and they were in a circle. They were just talking and talking and talking, and it piqued his interest, so he went over there. And in the middle of that little group of boys was a small dog, a puppy. And he was looking at him, and he finally said to one of the boys, "What are y'all doing?" The boy said, "Well, whoever tells the biggest lie gets to take the dog home." When the preacher heard that, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He said, he went into a tirade about a 5-minute sermon about how you shouldn't lie. He said, "When I was a young man, I never lied." And that, he quit, and it was silence. All the children were silent. And then finally one boy spoke up and said, "You're right, it's your dog." Did y'all get that, or you want me to do the punchline again? Today's the time for a God inspiration or a Bible verse, and this occurred to me, I guess, because of the weather. As you know, we had frigid temperatures last week, and a lot of people had problems with their plumbing and so forth. Even I did it myself down at my place. And it makes me recall that there was a house, a young couple were at a home, and all of a sudden they went into the bathroom, and that telltale drip, drip, drip from the ceiling, and they knew they had a problem. So they called the plumber in, and the plumber said, "Well, I've got to open up the ceiling. I got to make a hole in it to get to the pipe." And he did, and after he finished his job, he said, "Well, you might want to let it dry real good before you patch that hole back up." Well, so they waited about 3 or 4 or 5 days. Then they waited about another week. Then they waited about a month. And here we are into the next year. And one of their daughters invited a friend over, and a friend came in, and she wanted to use the restroom, and she used the restroom. She came out, she said, "Why do y'all have a hole in the top of your ceiling?" And the family was just kind of astounded. They thought, why? We had forgotten all about it. Often we forget something that just is right there all the time. We forget to look at it. And sometimes we forget, too, that, we all need a little patching up sometimes. The drip of anger in your life, or the drip of greed, or unforgiveness. We all need a little patching up. And there is a cure for that. God spoke through the Christ-natured one. He said, "My grace is sufficient. My strength is present and strong." We all need patching up, just like the plumbers do. Now, if you will, let's go to our statement of being. This is who we are. And if you're on the internet, please look at that, and you might even recite it with us. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you so much. It steers my soul. Thank you. Now is the time for our healing meditation. We have so much to be thankful for. I was reading Emmett Fox, and I wanted to start our meditation off with this just a short verse that he had to say. He said, "We are the children of God, filled and surrounded by the perfect peace of God." Let's go within. We are the children of God, and we are surrounded with perfect peace. Let's drop the facade of trying to be who we really aren't. We're children of God. You might think you're a business person, or just a housewife, a teacher, a retired person, but behind all that, underneath all that, you are a child of God, whose love is immense and unmeasurable, whose love is perfect. And that's how we'll step forward into 2023, full well knowing our place and who we are. Many of us have talents that help bring something, like music, or being able to talk to people, being friendly with others, having a smile for people. All the myriad of talents. You're more than the school teacher, and you're more than the housewife, and you're more than a retired person. You're more than the preacher, you're more than the pastor. You're a child of God. For the next 90 seconds, let's reflect on that, on the perfect peace of God, on who you really are, beginning now. I bring you peace, peace which surpasses all understanding. I bring you peace, and so it is. Amen. We have found the most beautiful Lord's Prayer of the Norah. Lord's Prayer, it was deciphered, I think, in Aramaic. Please recite with me if you would now. Our Father who is everywhere, your name is said, your kingdom is come, your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive us our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. And you let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom, the power, the song and praise, from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Amen. 2023, I thought about it. What does it mean? What's it going to bring? And it was on my mind for about 2 weeks now. I thought about it, and I thought, the word hope just coming to my mind. 2023, the word hope. I know there's different kinds of hope. I don't mean the hope like, we hope UVA goes on into the ACC schedule and does very well, jury. But I mean that deeper hope. You know the one I'm talking about, that one. That deeper one. And then that brings me to Isaiah 11:1. And I read this over 15 or 20 times. I've got to share this with you. It's very short. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. Well, if I read it 20 times, you're going to read it one more time with me. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. What's that? Well, Jesse was David's father. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. Isaiah is prophesying to people who have been almost down to nothing. God is up to something this year, and he was up to something with the Israelites too. So we're going to visit that. You know, when you say, I have a hope, it's like an anchor that you can grab hold of. When those times are hard and you're going through those times, I have a hope. It's like an anchor. Let me read something about Paul. This just briefly, Paul. Paul wrote in Romans 8:24, and this is so interesting. He was so ahead of his time. Hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? Doesn't that make sense? Paul was really on to something. Hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? In other words, your hope is for something a little bit out here, a little bit not yet there. Well, I hate to say this, and I hate to admit it, but I learn things most of the time the very hard way. Most of my life lessons that I've really learned have come the hard way. And a lot of times hope is hard. You know, we don't learn. Hope is not always easy. God doesn't always teach us easy. Sometimes it's hard. Some of the seasons I've gone through myself. Isaiah said, I see a shoot and a stump. God is up to something. We just finished Christmas, did we not? But I'm going to mention something. God does things the hard way. If you read the Bible sometimes, I don't know if biblical scholars will agree with me, but I'm just going to objectively say this. Sometimes if you read it, God seems to do things the hard way. Now, let me point out a few things to you, like Christmas. You know, God could have had Jesus come down from a cloud dressed up in a cape with a big J on the front of him. But he had to make it hard. He was born in a stable of all places, in a no-name place called Bethlehem. And he had to make his parents, Joseph, who had a dream. Mary came to Joseph and said, I'm pregnant. She was about 3 months pregnant. And Joseph had a dream. He said, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I love her, but, you know, I've got to divorce her quietly. And then he got to thinking about it. And then he had that dream where God said, no, it's the Spirit. And you'll name the child Emmanuel. God had to make this hard. And what did Mary? I mean, she'd been visiting Elizabeth. What did Mary? She has to come and tell people, I haven't been with anybody. It's the Spirit. God's Spirit made me pregnant. I haven't been with anyone. She has to put up with sideways glances and gossip. God made it hard, didn't he? God made that hard. I learned things the hard way, and I'll share this with you. There was a friend I had, well, she's still a friend. I haven't seen her in many years. I was about 44. She was 45. She was just a friend. I knew her when she was in her 20s. I knew when she got married to her first husband. And I knew him. He was a very good businessman, and he was starting out young, and he had a family business, and he never was home. He joined the Masons and the Kiwanis Club, and every night he had another meeting. He was getting, contacts and all that, but he was neglecting his wife at home. That went on for about 7, 8 years, and she felt not valued, and of course the marriage ended. She didn't ask her much. She didn't ask for anything, even though she could have gotten a pretty good settlement. She just didn't feel valued. Well, I knew her second husband. I knew him, and I didn't want to say anything to her, but I knew him. And well, that didn't go out so well either. He was cheating on her, and of course he wasn't valuing her. So that ended in divorce also. And then the boyfriend from out of town, he was like from Washington, D.C. It was a boyfriend, and it was a long-distance relationship, and he just was really using her. And one day, we were sitting talking, and she said to me, Doug, I have a hard time. I have a hard time picking out men, don't I? I have a hard time. She said, the next time I become interested in something, will you vet them for me, please? Will you tell me that if they're okay for me? Would you do that for me? She had to learn the hard way. She had to learn the hard way to value herself. God does things the hard way, something. Hope's not easy all the time. Let's look at Moses. God told Moses, go to the Pharaoh, tell him, let my people go. And I'm not making this up in the Bible. It says, and he will say no. Now, why would God tell me to do something if he already knows the answer is no? Probably because he didn't want Moses thinking, well, I did that on my own. Look, he let the people go. I have a great rapport with the Pharaoh, and I really know how to talk to people. I'm quite a salesperson. No. God has to do things the hard way. And then leading the Israelites away from Egypt, came to that body of water, the Red Sea. Instead of leading the people around the body of water, he says, stretch out your staff and let's go through it. And I'll drown everybody else chasing you. I've got to do it the hard way. Hope is not always easy. And I'm not even going to talk about David. Why even bring that up? It looks to me like God could have chosen someone at least that had some armor on and made him a little bit better warrior than he was. He chose a boy, no armor, with a slingshot. God does things the hard way sometimes. Maybe you've been allowing yourself too much of that fruit from the stump. God wants you to know this is important. The root system. That will give you real hope. You see, underneath that shoot that will come up from the stump of Jesse is a root system. That's where the quietness is. That's where all the work really is going on. That's where God really is in that root system. When I was about 8 or 9, I grew up in a middle class area. And in my small neighborhood, I was about 8 or 9, and I might have stretched out to the neighborhood, just to the very edge of where I should have probably been. And I heard in the backyard, I've never heard such words. I mean, cuss words. I've never heard such. F this, D that, S this. I've never heard that stuff at home. I've never heard anything quite like that. Well, it was a few years later, and I learned who that was doing it. It was a boy. He was about 2 years older than me. We went up and ended up going to the same high school. I knew him. I never saw him around friends, really. He had a quick temper. You know, if a school dance came up or something like that, I never saw him. He never really had a date or any friends. He was known for having a quick temper. I heard about him some time back. He's still unmarried. I heard about him some time back. Maybe he wrote it, or I don't know how I heard it, but I remember hearing that he said, "You don't know what I've been through. You didn't walk in my shoes." And that accounts for all that. You didn't walk in my shoes. You don't know that I don't have hope, that I'm angry, that nobody likes me. I have no hope. But God, if he had been to go into divine science, he would know God is in that root system. God is doing something quiet down in that root system. Isaiah said, God is doing a hidden work in your life as long as you have roots. It can be new beginnings. You know, with hope, sometimes we hope to be reconcilable when things are not going well. We hope for provisions when we're down and out. But here is where the real work of God is in the root system. This is really where it really is. Today, if you see a so-called sick person, look beyond the body or the flesh to the spiritual reality of him or her. And see him or her as God sees them, perfect. And only perfect. We're in the root system. We're in the root system. If you come across someone who is angry, discontented, or maybe road rage, bless them. Bless them. And you will write things as they should be in the reality of the universe. Because that's how it's supposed to be. Bless them. I have hope. I have hope. Not just for a clean bill of health or for a bonus or for love, but I have hope. I don't know what will bring you and I the realization of our hope this year, but I know who. I don't know when you'll feel that hope in your life, or when I will feel that hope in my life. But I know who. I don't know where you'll be when it happens, but I know who. It's in the root system. The root system from the shoot of the stump of Jesse. Come within with me, would you? God, 2023. It's a time of hope. Just like Paul said, we don't hope for what we see, but we hope for things to come. And Father, if we could just live more in that root system underneath that stump, if we can just be aware of that more, that's where we need to be, God. That'll make a difference in my life, in your life. Amen. What we're going to do is we want to do a communion today. I guess we can do it now, then we'll do the blessing of the gifts in a moment. You have the communion packet with you. You don't need to be a member of our church to take part in communion with us. We realize our communion takes place in our conscience during our quiet times and our meditation. We hold a constant spiritual connection with God at all times. Matthew 26:26, Jesus was eating with the apostles, the disciples, and he said, while eating bread, Jesus took the bread and broke it. And he said to him, this is my body, eat it. Then he took a cup. He said, drink from it. This is my blood of the covenant. Drink. If you would, turn to someone near you and just tell them, I behold the Christ in you.
Behold Christ in you. Behold Christ in you.
Thank you. Now we're going to do our blessings of the guests, which is a very important part of the service also. Would you recite with me? Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I know and accept it to increase flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies His gift for all. Thank you, God. Jan will share some announcements with us.
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, happy Sunday and everything. So every day's a new day. It's not going to have to be a new year. It's just every day is a new day to start over and make it right. Today is birthday Sunday, and all the birthday people are not here, but we're going to say happy birthday. And Rachel Goodman tomorrow and Martha Edwards all have birthdays in January. So we'll play. We have lots of birthday cake. We have like 2 different kinds of cake and all kinds of cookies for birthday Sunday. So please come next door and have some. And speaking of birthday cakes, we have the birthday calendar cake ready for somebody to sign up for the next few months, and also the flower calendar. Nancy sponsored the flowers today, and they're beautiful. And you said just the people take them? Okay. All right. So thank you so much for that. And so if you want to sponsor flowers for Sunday, please give Nancy $25, hopefully in advance, so that she don't have to take her own money to buy the flowers. So she does a wonderful job, but we had to increase the price from 20 to 25 because, as we know, everything's gone up. But we do appreciate Nancy taking care of that. So thank you again. Both calendars are in there with the clipboard, so please sign up for whatever you can do. I want to thank Ann and Martha for helping take down the decorations. Martha came over and took down some of the things off the tree and everything, and then Ann helped take down everything else. So I do appreciate all the help to get that done, because normally we do it after church. We have the last year or so, but because we have the church's meeting and everybody's trying to get out in the end, so we just decided to get it done and get it out of the way, so it'll be ready for next year. So. All right, let's see. I don't know of anything going on right now, but Marie, you have one business?
Yes, I do. I unfortunately will not be with you all next Sunday. It seems that, as Nancy said, I have a plumbing problem. The doctors have told me I need an operation, and that will take place on Tuesday, and I am absolutely assured, just as sure as that I'm standing right here, that it'll go beautifully and in harmony, and hopefully in a couple of weeks I will be with you again, and all is well. Right now, everything's in divine order. Thank you for understanding.
Will there be an IONS meeting? I guess it won't be, right? This month or somebody else doing it.
Yes.
But that's next Friday, not this Friday, right? It's next Friday. Second Friday. So
Second Friday.
Yes, we'll announce that.
Okay, put it on the calendar.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything? Well, we appreciate you letting us know, and Doug and Nancy and Pam are all stepping up and doing the service for the rest of the month, and so I don't know those for body. I don't know that she'll be dancing around and probably taking another trip before springtime gets here. I'm feel sure.
She's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, I heard.
Is that what she's doing there?
Their family, yes, they're all climbing together. Well, go, you keep going. Anyhow, everybody come next door and have some cake and everything, and, again, Happy New Year, and, again, I try to tell everybody all the time, thank you all for all that you do around here, and being here every week, and just supporting the church, and for all the things that we do, just thank you again.
Let's close our church service like we've been doing with the recognizing what's going to hot spots in the world. And we'll think of these, not just these places, but there are other places also. And if we'll say the prayer of protection, which is so beautiful, please recite with me. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. The mind of God guides you. The power of God abides in you. The strength of God renews you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. And we're going to close our service today. I'm glad we can do this. In 2023, we're going to close it with a prayer for our country. Just for 90 seconds, please begin now. As Emmett Fox said, we are children of God. Go in peace.